I'm Roy Danis. I'm from the country of New York. At least that's how we view the world. So just a quick 30 seconds on what I do. So I run a company called Conecuh Brands out of New York. We're a premium spirits incubation company. So we create brands that at some point we monetize to perhaps larger strategic players, or we may just decide to keep going at it based on trajectories and things of that sort. But our real joy and expertise is in creating the brands. So everything I'm going to show you are things that we created. On this theme of luxury beyond price, there's several ways you can communicate luxury, but the first thing you have to do when you're creating a brand is you have to be authentic. So a lot of it starts with a brand story, a credible brand story. So consumers are much more savvy today. They can see through, advertising. They don't want to be advertised to. They want to understand. They want to discover brands. But brands that have real authenticity and credibility are ones that are going to pique their interest and curiosity. At least that's how millennials seem to be shopping today, and even non-millennials want more authenticity in their purchase. So brands that have a credible brand story, a sense of place. A lot of people are discovering different products, different spirits, wine, regardless of what the category might be, even beer. But they want to understand, where is it from? It just makes the story more compelling and more interesting. And they want packaging that engages. For a lot of these smaller brands, and I'm going to show you a few, if you don't have a huge ad budget, which most startup companies don't have, you better be able to tell your story in a concise, engaging way through your packaging. Because that's the only time you're really interacting with the consumer. When that consumer is browsing the shelf, you want something that's perhaps going to stop them, cause them to pick up the bottle and spend 30 seconds or a minute with the bottle. If you don't have that impact initially, with that sea of labels on a shelf, they're going to walk right by. To be luxury, again, beyond just price, you have to have it in the bottle. It's got to be quality. You've got to have a great package and a pretty picture, so to speak, but it also has to be in the bottle. Consumers might see a pretty bottle and pick it up and maybe even buy it. But if they don't have a good experience consuming the product, or if they think they spent $1 more than they should have, you're not going to get a repeat consumer. They're not going to buy it a second or a third time. So it's got to be in the bottle. You've got to wow them with not only the pretty picture, but you've got to wow them with the liquid. And to do that, you've got to make sure you focus on quality ingredients. You have to have the finest components. And it's not just liquid. It could be about the capsule, the cork, the closures, the glass, things of that sort. And it certainly helps to get third-party reviews. I can tell you I make a great whiskey, but how much credibility will you kind of perceive from the person who makes the brand telling you that? It's a lot more credible when a third party, whether it's one of these leading publications like Wine Enthusiast Magazine or Ultimate Spirits Challenge, or even leading bloggers, when they start to talk about your product, gives the brand a lot more credibility and trust in the consumer's evaluation. And be distinctive. There are some very exciting categories right now. Obviously, from the U.S. perspective, bourbon is hot as anything and now growing around the world. Tequila is on fire in the U.S. and growing throughout the world. To break through that, because these categories are so healthy, all the players in the industry are jumping into the space and trying to create brands to steal share from the leaders. So if you're not distinctive, or you don't have something that helps you break through, whether it's a promotional edge or like a packaging or a liquid edge, you're just going to get lost in the shuffle. I'm just going to show you what, in my opinion, again, I'm a bit biased, but I hope you'll agree. So this is the Clientage brand, a brand we created in America that has really started to break through. Now, we think it's, and not only we, but we've gotten some significant packaging awards. We think we have world-class packaging. But as I said, the package alone isn't going to take you to 100,000 or 200,000 cases. The packaging will get a consumer to buy it one time. So we have great packaging. We have a great story. Clyde Mays was a real guy. He was a moonshiner from Alabama, created this recipe of flavoring his whiskey well ahead of his time with a hint of apple and cinnamon, and he was one of the best moonshiners in the South during the 40s, 50s, 60s. His family, unfortunately, got a little bit carried away, and they started moonshining as well. It's a long story, but there's a bit of a criminal element here. The entire family practically got arrested for moonshining. Clyde did. Two of his children did. They became convicted felons. Well, when you're a convicted felon in America, you can't own a liquor company. So myself and my investment group bought the trademark from the family. And we ended up marketing his story, basically, and bringing the brand to life. And one of the things we wanted to do, again, to build authenticity and credibility, because he had a couple of different package iterations that weren't succeeding quite well. First thing I said was, he's a real guy. Let's let the consumers meet him. So he put his picture on the label. Let him meet his family. I got a picture of him and his wife on the neck label and on the shoulder, on the side panel. He was a war hero and served his country admirably in World War II. We put him in his war uniform. We tell the story about his Alabama style as we reference his recipe, because he was from Alabama. We put the recipe basically on the label. We talked about it handcrafted, the whole thing. So a very authentic and credible story, all verified, factual. I've talked to his attorney many times. The man, Clyde May, has since passed away, but his grandson, with the same name, is currently working in the company and running around the country and hopefully here in Europe soon and promoting his grandfather's whiskey. So again, all part of the storytelling, very authentic, very credible. And very approachable in price. You can have luxury without being ridiculously priced. So this original Alabama whiskey would retail for about $32. The bourbon, the straight bourbon, retails for about $40. That's an approachable, affordable luxury, as I'll refer to it. You know, to have a really exceptional price just to say you want to be the most expensive in the category, in my opinion, makes no sense. You want consumers to feel like they're trading up, to Gabe's point, but it has to be relevant to what's in the bottle and to the category and to the competition. Another example is our tequila, which is actually launching here in Europe as we speak. So this brand's called Prospero Tequila. Pricing similar to the Clyde Mays, it's in the $30 to $40 range. The Blanco is about $32 US. The Reposado is about $40 US, and we have an Añejo that's about $45. So again, price alone, not necessarily communicating luxury, because there's a lot of brands in this price range, but it's not inexpensive. In pure definition terms, industry definition terms, this would be considered ultra premium. Usually anything $25 or over is considered ultra premium. Below 20 to 25 is premium. Below 20 is usually popular price. So we meet the price criteria for being luxury, but again, it's got to be more about what's in the bottle. Our Añejo just received a 97 points, highest rated tequila in the United States right now. And particularly at that price point, that's a solid win. So again, over-delivering against the price point. It can't just be about price. They have to have an experience that feels like they consumed the product, that tasted and kind of they enjoyed and they thought it was at a lot higher price point. The best thing you could do with a luxury spirit brand is to have the consumer consume it and say, what did I pay for that? I paid only $32? I thought I was drinking like a $45 bottle of spirits, whatever it is. That's how you build loyalty. That consumer will come back and buy it again. If it provides that badge, that sense of premiumness, but yet they don't feel like they necessarily paid premium. We've done a few other things with positioning. One of the few spirit brands, not only in the world, but certainly in Mexico, that's made by a woman. Stella Anguiano is our master distiller. Not easy in Mexico to break through with that culture and become a very successful distiller, but she has 30 years making tequila. So we wanted to position this product a little differently to give it, again, to my comment about how do you break through? How does a luxury spirit break through the clutter? Because tequila's so hot, everybody's launched them. Well, we overtly, I'll be very frank, position this towards women. There's a very elegant dressed woman on the label riding a horse. The master distiller is a woman. And we even brought on a celebrity component, but not because the brand is about celebrity. We brought on Rita Ora, who some of you may have heard of, not as popular in the United States, very popular in Europe. And Rita and I have collaborated on this project. And I wanted her not because I needed her to make the liquid or I needed her to promote it per se. I wanted her 35 million social media followers. I call her my accelerant. You know, we can get the product going, but she can bring it to the masses a lot quicker than we can. Again, and she's got a pretty strong following and upscale, and again, reinforcing this is an ultra premium product with a big time name addressed to it. And I'm referring to the master distiller when I say that, but also a big time celebrity, Rita Ora. And lastly, we talked about the Irish whiskey category. So this is a brand called McConnell's, and again, you need a good brand story. We've recreated this brand. I can't take credit for creating it because this brand was around since 1776. We discovered the trademark. It had gone dormant in 1930. We Googled it, found what it used to look like, 70 years ago, 80 years ago, and we replicated it. We're bringing this brand back to life. Irish whiskey, for those who may not be aware, was at one time the most prolific spirit on the planet. Long before Scotch, actually, certainly before American whiskey, the world was consuming Irish. But in 1930, that date may or may not resonate with some of you, but that's significant because that's when U.S. was in the middle of its prohibition era, and you couldn't buy liquor in the United States. So when your largest export customer goes belly up, basically, you go out of business. And dozens of distilleries in Ireland went out of business, and so did this brand. But we're resurrecting it, a bespoke bottle, very elegant, expensive package. The capsule came from Scotland, the badge came from Argentina. The glass was made in Austria by Stolzel glass manufacturing. So we spared no expense, again, to build we wanted those luxury components without putting it into the price. Retail price, front line, every day, $34.99. I could easily probably sell this for $50 a bottle. I'm deliberately not selling it for $50 a bottle. Why? I want to get that consumer's loyalty. I want to get them to consume it, look at it, hold it, and say, this looks like a very expensive bottle of Irish whiskey. If I get that consumer thinking that, and then they say, I only spent $35, I've got the consumer. So this product is actually being launched as we speak as well. So these are just some examples of building brands with credible stories, high-end components. Don't cut back on liquid formulation. Get the best distiller you can. Get the best components in the glass, the package, and label. And you will have the perception that you are selling luxury. And that's what these products, I think, convey to the consumer. So thanks very much.